Hi everyone and welcome to the finals of the 2v2 tournament. We are seeing RKKA versus Wargame Greater Than Steel Division. And that is Ambert and Karma versus Pixy and Razzmann, the big heavyweights who I'm sure need no introduction. In this first matchup, we have Ambert playing as the 8th Infantry Division and Karma playing as the 3rd Armoured, against Pixy as the 39th Infantry and Razzmann as the 79th Tank. Ambert down at the bottom here, with some units up at the top as well, but mainly Karma at the top, the same as we've seen in previous games with them. And then over here we have Razzmann at the top and Pixy down at the bottom. Let's get things started. Cluster coming out straight away for Pixy. Not the first time we've seen that tactic used. An F-16C and a Fighting Falcon both in and will engage that. It will probably get to drop its payload first though. Yes, it has. Is this going to be well timed? Yes, it is. Devastatingly well timed. That has been practiced. No question about that. Multiple losses there for Ambert. Not even sure if that was destroyed. I think the plane was killed. There was something else happening at the other side. I'm not sure if there was a plane killed over there as well. Not a huge amount of things going towards the middle. I think mainly this big force from Pixy. Unfortunately, whatever Ambert was intending to send there, I suspect, he's lost half of that. So there's going to be less units heading towards Delta and less units heading towards Foxtrot as well. Karma, still with all of his forces intact, will be aiming to get units down here, I'm sure. Spetsnaz Grau are there already, though. These Rangers will get to those buildings before any of Razzmann's units. Mi-8 engaging Karma's forward infantry there. Couple of squads of infantry, stingers and some rifles, having to run the rest of the way due to losing their transports. Very little down here for Pixy, equally very little for Ambert now because of that intervention from the cluster bomber. So I don't think there's going to be much fighting down here, though Ambert has managed to secure those buildings again. Apaches going around the back there for Karma. I expect aiming to do some damage to the main base, kill possibly a command vehicle or two. This is likely in response to the attack from that cluster bomber early on. And a little bit of exchange of cheese, perhaps. Good use of an Su-24, Su-22 even in this case. HE bomber on those buildings in the middle, very effective. Lots of transports going back, various units coming in, including some CVs. Karma gently pushing at the top here. Razzmann doesn't have much, doesn't have a command vehicle there either yet. In the centre, Ambert doesn't have a lot there. Realistically, I think he lost a lot of what he wanted to get there. Another cluster bomber, Su-24 coming in there. So effective. Has caused that tank to rout. Bigger force coming in from Pixy at the top and some support from Razzmann. Those Apaches have made it to the base. One engaging the command vehicle, the other attacking units coming in to the point, doing an immense amount of damage to all those. Oh, have killed all those reinforcements that were being called in there. Obviously now unable to call in more reinforcements at that point. Anything will appear here. Pixy straight in with an anti-air chopper to engage those Apaches. Anti-air coming in for Ambert at the bottom, including more infantry as well, and some tanks at the back there. Some more infantry coming in the middle as well. More Apaches. Abrams at the top. Karma still pushing, but a little bit stalled now by this tank and chopper combination. These two Apaches, not quite sure what the plan is there. Heading over this way, perhaps going for the base as well, but will end up taking on these Mi-24 anti-air choppers. Cluster coming in for Karma now. Think nothing's going to happen at the bottom for the moment. Cluster dropping on that tank. Tank is being moved out of the way. Minimal damage. Cluster bomber is getting out though. Apaches pulling out of that position. Attack beacons have been put down as to where they're going. I assume they're going to try and do some damage here. Apaches coming in from that side as well, though they are being hit by those Strelas. Lots of infantry flash coming in there for Ambert. This is a significant force, though, of both BMP-3s and infantry. And I think flash on their own will struggle against those BMP-3s. They will be needing those Apaches to provide fire support. Oh, and a cluster. That will also do the trick. Strange spread on those clusters, but quite an effective spread. Have done some damage. Have killed a couple of BMPs, I think. Those Apaches being used to very good effect. Karma still pushing at the top here. Units progressing bit by bit. That T8BV getting a little bit overexcited, a little bit too close. Has managed to kill some infantry with it, though. Significant fight in the center still. Oh, plane going down. Managed to take out the chopper as well, though. Apaches being used as heavy fire support against these BMPs. No one with anything around the back here. And the same here. Only just recapping this point at the moment. Pixy. Razzmann also grabbing this one and probably sending something to the middle as well. And capping the bottom point. As obviously the points are slowly trickling in for Ambert and Karma. This is an interesting game. Watching these two heavyweight teams going against each other, it feels almost more planned out, slower paced. Everything's more thought about before the engagements happen. It's quite interesting. It feels like a very different style of play to what we've seen so far in this tournament. Just trying to keep an eye on what's happening up here. Karma has managed to get in those buildings now, is also in these bushes, so has managed to push. Lost his units that were here though. A little bit stagnated at this point. I'm sure Karma would like to push. Has managed to overwhelm the forces there. And equally, Pixy and Razzmann's units here, gone. Very good comeback from Ambert and Karma there. Very effective use of those choppers as well. They've gone back to rearm and repair. 25M cluster coming in. Heading for the center. Though honestly, I assume going for that tank. Ooh, missed it. Was moved just in time, though has taken a shot from that BMP-1 missile, which did a sizable amount of damage. Is that another jet going down there? Looks like it. There are bits of jet falling through the air. I think Karma would like to make a push on that building. Bottom of the map, no man's land. Nothing going to happen there for a while, that's for sure. Plenty of supply trucks being brought in. Mostly for Karma and Ambert at the moment. Not seeing a lot of that from Pixy and Razzmann. Command vehicle coming in there for Pixy. Karma's bringing one in for that point. Not seeing anything command-wise yet for the center from Ambert and Karma. BMP-3. Certainly overwhelming force for Ambert and Karma in the middle currently. Whether he's willing to push into this area, I'm not sure. Cluster drop there, aiming for that tank, though has not done much to it at all, even though it seemed to be under the explosions. Seems to have just obviously been right on the edge of it. Ambert is pushing, making a move for that tree line. Razzmann bringing in a lot of reinforcements down here. I assume would like to push through the trees or through these buildings. HE bomber coming in. I expect going for this corner. I'll be very surprised if it's going anywhere else. Has dropped its payload. Oh, over here. Unexpected. I thought they might go there, but its angle of approach didn't seem to be that. Sometimes the angle of approach on these planes is really weird. It didn't look like it was going there. It looked like it was heading over here. Nothing behind from either side. Very much a push in the middle. And at the moment, certainly plenty of red on the screen. I will note, not a huge amount of defense going on behind the lines. Eagle are there now to protect that, but certainly not like we've seen in some other games. This is Razzmann's push. He is going for those buildings. Is being engaged by an Abrams as well, though. Attack beacon gone down from Pixy on that. Probably wants to bring in a cluster bomber to engage it. Though there are two T-80s there. Never mind, it's dead. Engaged by the T-80s and the infantry. Certainly forces in the favour of Razzmann there. Apache has been brought in to support, though. But it is a rocket Apache, but it does have Cobras, I think. No, it doesn't. It's just Hydras. It's the tank that has the Cobra. Yeah, those rockets are not doing much to that. Cluster, F-16 cluster coming in again and not drop. Did it drop its payload? I think it... Maybe it did. Maybe that was its payload. Very, very hard to tell from that. Another cluster bomber coming in. Not doing very much to that BV. T-80U is dead, though. Cluster coming in for Pixy as well. Going for that tank. Has killed it. Now, to me, that tank looked like it was outside the blast zone, but has been killed by it. It's so difficult to tell where the blast zone finishes on these things. CV coming in to the middle now from Ambert. Still firmly in control of the centre. Good use of Apaches. Cluster coming in there. Will take out that tank. Still not a lot happening down here. Up at the top. Karma's little push has been pushed back. Razzmann's units pushing further forward now. Karma does have some scouts there, though, so can at least see what's coming in, I'm sure. Plenty of units in here still. And plenty of units down here. This is Ambert pushing back against Pixy and Razzmann. Of Razzmann's units, only those mortar stalker had survived. The military police were still intact. The rangers are still intact. That's a big loss down there. I'm impressed that Ambert has managed to push back against that. Eagle on station. Genuinely fascinating watching these guys play. Everything feels so much slower paced. Even how the attacking force is approaching feels slower paced. There's none of this charging through. You know, Ambert's maneuvers here in the middle, all very slow. A couple of units at a time, moving bit by bit. There's none of this very aggressive push everything through. Everything just seems thought out. couple of tanks for Razzmann there. Hoping to clear this area. Certainly lots less units in this zone for Ambert and Karma now. Some reinforcements coming in, however. Attack beacon down there from Ambert. I'm not quite sure why. A couple of attack beacons here from Pixy due to the forces that are coming through from Ambert. Ambert certainly had second thoughts by the looks of it. Lots of infantry coming in from the top there. Strelky BMP for Razzmann. I'm wondering exactly how he's going to approach. He is getting engaged by those dragons. And now being fired on by all of these units as well. Second thoughts pulling back into the tree line. Cluster bomber coming in again, going for that final tank. And it will die. But the cluster bomber has also been killed by that F-15 Eagle. Significant cluster of units here for Pixy and Razzmann. Much more spread out when it comes to Ambert and Karma. But I think Ambert and Karma here just pushing that defensive line out further and further. Still bomber after bomber after bomber coming in from both sides. Mi-24 being used against infantry there. Another bomber coming in. Dropped its payload at the back there. And died in the process. Engineer dragons being used against those tanks, but unfortunately they're a bit too close and will die to those tanks. All quiet on the southern flank. Up here it's quieter than it was. Most of Karma's units that were up there destroyed. I think the focus is now down here, trying to hold on to that. In the centre, it looks like Ambert has lost a lot of his forces, and the thing is, once you are into a point, you start pushing out the other side. As you see, Ambert's forces are quite spread out. So a clustered force like that coming in will gradually wear down these small groups of units. So it's no surprise really that Ambert has been pushed back. But equally, when you're trying to defend a point like this, you have to be spread out over multiple areas. But Ambert using these units to provide significant distraction and force Razzmann to get troops out early. See if those one missile hit. Only did 2 points of damage. Wondering what those ulcers are firing at. I assume they were trying to fire at the Eagle, but locking on and firing too late. Loads of tanks coming in for Ambert now here. Equally lots of forces for Pixy, lots of forces for Pixy and Razzmann at this side. Lots of forces for Razzmann here as well. Zooming out, lots of stuff coming in there, a little bit here. But again, this is swinging back in the favour of being held by Razzmann and Pixy. This is going to turn into one of those quite long slogging matches. I can feel it now, where there's going to be a lot of back and forth. We're 18 minutes in. There's at least 20 odd minutes left. Oh! That jet didn't get very far. Did drop its payload though. Seemed to get destroyed before it even dropped his payload, but managed to drop it anyway. I assume that's those pivots just wrecking stuff. Bomber coming in there. I assume a cluster. Yeah, did manage to do some damage. Those Apaches coming back in have been very effective against infantry and light vehicles. But right now, you know, overwhelming force back in the hands of Pixy and Razzmann. It's just like swinging one way and then the other. It's quite interesting. This is what we saw in the other game where there were two very evenly matched teams. A lot of back and forth, pushing in and out of a point. Artillery there for Razzmann. 3 pieces. Hitting the units in the middle. Unfortunately, not really hitting anything at the moment, as whatever was there is dead. But retreating his forces as best he can there. Obviously realised that he's a bit overwhelmed. Just notice those 2 stingers there. Maybe they are what killed that bomber that went over. Since it died when it was here, could well be that that was the case. Could well be. Fully ranked up, so technically 105% accuracy. Technically. F-16C cluster coming in there. Let's see if it actually drops its payload. This is the thing where earlier games I was thinking it wasn't actually dropping its payload. Looks like it's dropping. Did drop its payload over here. You know, sometimes the bombs really do not line up with the jets. Lots of artillery being used against Ambert in the middle now. No artillery purchased by Ambert or Karma as yet. I'm sure it will be coming. That CV still surviving, will be dead very soon though. Lots of incoming machine gun fire. So that means that points now going to Pixy and Razzmann. They've got some catching up to do though, that is for sure. And right now if we zoom out we can see that realistically bigger force there for Razzmann and Pixy at the moment. But equally quite a lot of units still up here. Karma. Plenty of units coming in there from Ambert. Another tank there. Still plenty of units sat down here. Neither side really has an overwhelming force right now. Certainly just more, I think, for Pixy and Razzmann. Still, all quiet on the southern front. I suspect that this is the way it's going to be this entire game. A little bit of back and forth fire between the infantry in these buildings and Razzmann, but that's about it. Artillery just being used to hit that corner, stop more reinforcements coming in. Good use of cluster bombers there. Have killed the tanks that were in that area by the looks of it. Eagle taking a couple of shots there. Artillery now coming in against these buildings, I assume. Yeah. Trying to kill that infantry. Karma making a little push again, along with Ambert, back into this point. A little bit of movement up here. Pixy just pushing up infantry, getting closer to that point. I just noticed artillery shells coming in there. Yeah, there we go. Ambert has bought an artillery piece. More Heimatsuchen coming in for Ambert as well. Some units back here as well, not being pushed up. Those rifles surviving and getting, well, trying to get shots off at that TATU. HE bomber coming in for the middle there. hitting those units at the back. Has been killed by those 2 stingers. I assume the guys don't realise they're there. Firing at targets of opportunity, perhaps, that artillery piece. Perhaps a bit of a waste of ammo just to hit that empty truck. Ambert putting a attack beacon down, I assume. I'm not entirely sure why. Is firing his artillery at all these infantry now, though. CEVs coming in will be super effective against all those infantries at that close range. More motorstrelky coming in at the back there. Now, of the final, only 2 games were actually played, and Pixy and Razzmann conceded the last match, I believe. And that was because this one was quite a long one. The next one I don't think is quite as long, but it's a heck of a slogging fest when there's no time limit for these experienced players. And obviously, as you can probably see from this game, they're fairly evenly matched. And playing multiple games when you're fairly evenly matched without a time limit, I think is just quite tiring, to put it simply. Because there's just going to be continued back and forth here. I assume eventually Ambert and Karma are going to push back into the centre. Razzmann solidifying the position with a T-80 BVK command tank. Those Heimatsuchen pushing through that area. Karma back in this area. Another bomber down. Lots of artillery coming in. Still just the 1 piece for Ambert. This is quite an interesting back and forth up here as well for this game. And just constant artillery and bombers hitting these 2 tree lines. And then the centre, well, it's just an ongoing mess really, isn't it? Heimatsuchen getting chased out by multiple infantry teams and a tank. T-80 BVK being brought out of that point, all the way down, to engage these units. 2 tow Cobras there, being hit by the BMP-3s. HE bomber in again there, flying out the map. It is going to escape alive. Are these guys out of ammo? No, they still have ammo left, those stingers. The little push up here from Karma, not succeeded, though this area is now clear of units from either side. More military police here for Karma. Is managing to maintain this even under heavy fire. Unfortunately not managing to push back into the centre. I wonder if we're seeing a bit of fatigue here. Not really massing up of a huge amount of forces for Ambert and Karma to push back into the middle currently. Got about 13 minutes of this game to go. Could it be that Ambert and Karma are not going to be able to push back into the centre now? But that equally, Pixy and Razzmann aren't going to be able to push anywhere else. That is the big question in my head right now. A lot can happen in 13 minutes. Oh, wow. So while I've been concentrating here, the southern front has become a hot zone. Look at all of these forces coming in from Ambert. Tanks, infantry, mech rifles, Heimatsuchen, recon, cobras, tow cobras. Quick response on the artillery from Razzmann there, and lots of Motostrelki coming in, but that is a heck of a push. That was unexpected. Obviously an attempt here to stretch out Pixy and Razzmann, force them to deploy units elsewhere so that Karma and Ambert can push back into the centre. And perhaps it's working. I mean, you know, the numbers of units that Razzmann and Pixy have at this side have dwindled. Has managed to put some up here though, Pixy. All quiet up here now as the focus has switched to the bottom of the map. Look at this force pile driving through this point. The anti-air has been taken out. So many forces coming in now. We'll be met by all these Motostrelki. Ambert using those vehicles to scout ahead. Cobras, still 2 left. I think one of them has died. That one is nearly dead. Very few missiles left. This one still has 8 tows. HE bomber coming in there. Now, that's an interesting point. No real anti-air on this push. But these choppers are going to potentially... I thought they might do some damage, but they haven't actually done any damage to that Mi-24. So, good push from Ambert there, but it may be stopped in its tracks here. Oh, very clever though. Reduce that to +1 point. Up at the top, this is now stagnated as the focus is elsewhere. Units here for Pixy. He has pushed around the back now. Will stop reinforcements from this side. Ambert obviously going to be taking some losses to his infantry there. Very little in the middle for Ambert though. He has committed a lot of forces to pushing this point and is now bringing in some stingers to reinforce those. Interesting. Ambert hanging in there with these units, has managed to stop the counter push. Still some units up here in the wings waiting, and more on the way in. But at the moment it does mean that Pixy and Razzmann have resecured this side of the centre. Really impressed and by that sudden decision to push heavily here. Got HE bombers coming in to try and take out some of those infantry. Have managed to kill that squad. Not done any damage to any others though. But look at all these Motostrelki coming in. Support from those rockets on the jet, on the helicopter even. Got Ambert's units coming in here. Loads more reinforcements. You know, it's really difficult to say. I feel like with enough reinforcements... Oh, look at all those RPOs coming in. Maybe I was about to say, with enough reinforcements, I reckon Ambert could actually take this. But with all those RPOs against the infantry, no chance. And right now, I think the amount of units here, and, you know, Razzmann and Pixy are moving all their forces forward now. I think that little push is done. I'd probably consider redirecting my forces to the centre. Although, could he still bring in enough? He's basically fighting against 2 of them now. I mean, this is Razzmann and Pixy bringing stuff in. Mixture of rocket gunships and infantry. Abrams in support there. HE bombers in again. I assume... Oh. Interestingly, going for the tank, but didn't do any damage to it. Did kill the unit next to it. Perhaps they're thinking the command vehicle is in there. Loads of artillery fire there. Coming in against these units at the back. Karma trying to make a push through here so he can get back into the centre from that side. That's interesting. I just noticed Ambert has redirected those forces. I did say before, I wonder if he might just want to redirect those. And there we go. He has redirected these mech rifles towards the centre, as he's realised that this probably isn't going to go much further. There's just an overwhelming force here now for Pixy and Razzmann. Really good effort though. Really surprising push at the bottom when it's been so quiet the entire game. But yes, what a slogfest. Plus 1 point. About 7 minutes to go. I mean, realistically, this could still go either way. I genuinely don't know who won this match. I haven't seen it before. This is my first time watching it. I feel like it's so much slower paced than a lot of the matches we've watched. There's a lot more thought and planning going into each manoeuvre. Units aren't being lost as quickly as we've seen in a lot of games. And obviously, you know, manoeuvres like this, very random, very sudden, very unexpected, slowing the game down massively. But has it worked? I'm looking at this and seeing multiple tanks coming in at the bottom. I'm seeing the mech rifles that were redirected coming up here. Military police. HE bomber coming in there. Not doing anything to those tanks. They have recapped the middle. They are now getting plus 2 points. I mean, that was successful. Ambert has not only pushed in there, is currently neutralizing the point, but has has caused Razzmann and Pixy to redirect all their forces in at that point. In the meantime, they've managed to build up just enough to push back into the centre, whittle away at Razzmann and Pixy's units, and are now back in the centre. Obviously under heavy fire from artillery, from both the bottom and top of the map, but, you know, has meant they're back in the game. The points are now ticking back up in their favour. I don't know what I was expecting. It was so hard to predict, and it still feels hard to predict. Oh, they finally killed Ambert's command vehicle there, and we are back to 0 points. No one getting any points now. I assume with the amount of artillery coming in, it'll be this CV that dies first. But there's literally just over 4 minutes to go. I'm not sure that's enough time for either side to make 2,000 points. I'm wondering if one of them admits defeat and surrenders here. I can imagine them doing that. I can imagine one of these two sides deciding, hang on, we aren't going to win this, let's call it there. Loads of reinforcements coming in from Pixy at the moment. A little bit coming in from Razzmann as well. This Foxtrot point is just a melting pot. Look at how many units are dying in there from both sides. More reinforcements coming in there, I think, as well for Ambert. He's still pushing that point hard. They have also got control in the middle now. That little CB has survived. Pixy pulling out his command vehicle so he doesn't get killed. Back to +3 for Ambert and Karma. It's actually quite a tense game. 3 minutes to go. Someone must surrender. Someone must be going to surrender. Could Pixy and Razzmann surrender this one if they don't push in the center? I mean, forces-wise, somewhere evenly matched. Perhaps slightly more for Ambert and Karma on the map right now. Loads of red Vatiska coming in there. But Ambert being pushed back at this side again due to the artillery and the forces coming in. Cluster bomber coming in there against these units. Tank already killed. Genuinely not sure. CV now in here. Plus 5 points to Ambert and Karma. But still managing to hold on to this side. Is pushing more units in. Obviously nothing coming in here from Razzmann or Pixy at the moment. The concentration is switched back to the centre. 2 minutes to go. Still not convinced that's going to hit 2,000. I'm assuming someone's surrendering. I just can't see. Because that CB could easily be moved back in there now. And neutralise the points again. And then these guys would be on +2 instead of +5. This is a heck of a hard fought game. That CV just trying to run around avoiding the artillery. Wow. Literally a minute left of this game. Ambert pushing strongly through this point now. Will likely make it to the other side. Has tanks in there and everything. And here in the middle, that little push has been stopped by Ambert's infantry. Trying to kill that CV again. I'm genuinely not sure what is happening in the next half a minute. That has been marked for destruction. Artillery coming in it now. Certainly in favour of Ambert and Karma at the moment. "15 seconds left. I assume that's going to get destroyed, but the counter CV has gone into the centre there, I think. Ah, Razzmann and Pixy have surrendered. Okay, fair enough. That's what happened. That was a long game, a lot of back and forth. That was, yeah, that was tense. Really was not sure what was going to happen there. As I say, I haven't seen these games, and I don't know who won which one. I know they won one each, but that was it. But wow, look at the kills there. Look at how close the kills and losses are in this game. Just going to show how effective these two teams are. Very, very good players. Very, very good players. Really impressed by that. Congratulations to Ambert and Karma for their win there. That was a very tight game. Really, really different style of gameplay to what we've seen before. Commiserations to Pixy and Razzmann. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Please join me for the second of the final games. And then we will also have the bronze game as well. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you all soon.